correct.
Hey, everybody, we're just about ready. Hang tight with us. Hang tight, millennials. And we'll get the show going.
That's correct.
I'm not a perfect person.
All right, we're just doing the show. I can't figure out this video, so you're just getting the logo there for a little bit until we get Brian. Brian!
Yeah, man, what would we do without Brian?
There are days and there are days. Ben, heard any news lately?
Big news, breaking all the time.
A specific one I'm sarcastically implying to?
Am I allowed to say at this moment?
Oh, boy.
Blago! He's coming home, he's done his time. Ding, 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 ding. Tie a yellow ribbon.
All right, that's our song of the day.
Actually, it wasn't going to be my song, but whatever.
Okay, we'll do the sponsor read. You do the song of the day. We'll get started. Sorry we're running behind, guys. I don't know what the hell the problem with the video is, but anyway, okay. Your Ben Joravsky show.
Brian. Brian!
Can we
Brian!
get it in? All right, your Ben Joravsky show for Tuesday, February 18th is just moments away. But before we get into that, we got to thank the following unions for sponsoring this program: the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, Local 126 and District 8; the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 9 are sponsors; the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150 sponsored this program, as well as the Chicago Federation of Labor. Ben, let's hear that song of the day.
All right, let's just go with the one I had been singing. Tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. Hey, it's been Who sang that song?
No one cares.
Frank. Who sang? Dawn. Tony Orlando and Dawn. There you go. Thank you, Frank.
Do you want young people listening?
Yeah.
The Ben Joravsky Show starts now. It is Tuesday, February 18th, and live from the Chicago Sun-Times Chicago Reader Studio on Racine Avenue, this is the Ben Joravsky Show. Today on the program, our Chicago Reader colleague Maya Dukmasova returns. We welcome back political strategist Justin Horowitz, and we're talking all things Mardi Gras with the Mardi Gras man, Jimmy Bannos. And now your host, not the Mardi Gras man, Chicago Reader columnist Ben Joravsky.
Hello, everybody. We're calling this Breaking News Tuesday. That's the news breaking. And here's why.
Sounded like a power washer.
Good week. You have a good weekend, D?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
I had a good weekend. I saw The Assistant. So movie. Overrated. In fact, just don't. False advertising made me think it was going to be this real suspenseful thriller, and it was kind of boring. Anyway, saw the NBA All-Star Game. I went to my friend's house, drove up there, and while I was driving up there, D, I heard this song on the radio, an old Neil Young song I hadn't heard in years. Yes, Only Love Can Break Your Heart. And it was like, I hadn't heard this song in years. It's a line that goes, I have a friend I've never seen. He hides his head inside. And I thought they said tree. And so like for an hour, I'm like, why would he hide his head inside of a tree? And guess what, D? Turns out I misheard. It was Dream. All right.
This is our opener, huh?
Yeah, man. I just had to get that out. Anyway, watch the NBA All-Star Game, and what I was stunned by is how much stuff I have in my head about Chicago politics. For instance, Common was up there. He was introduced to players, the great rap star from the south side of Chicago. His mother was on the school board. Rahm appointed her to the school board. She was a big charter school advocate. It was like, that's what I was thinking about. Chance the Rapper supported Amara Enya in the last mayoral race. He's up there rapping. That's what I could think about. Donnie Trumpet, the trumpet player for Chance the Rapper, his dad, his old friend, Craig, there's your son. Anyway, that was what I did Sunday. Woke up today, and what did I discover? Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. Donald John Trump, there were two breaking news. Donald John Trump has apparently commuted Governor Rod Blagojevich's sentence, and Rod's coming home. That's why I was singing Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the Old Tree. And folks, I love this. I'm delighted by this news. I believe it actually happened. The first person who told me about it was Dr. D. He sent me a Facebook message that we got. And at that time, it was like, well, he's expected to commute the sentence. And now the New York Times has broken the news that he has actually commuted the sentence. And Brian was rushing in here. The Sun-Times IT guru was saying that Blagojevich could be home as soon as tonight, that reporters and photographers are going out to his house, just like old days, back when he was first arrested in 2008. They're going out to his house off of Wilson Avenue in the Ravenswood Manor area, not far from where young Dennis lives, by the way, about a half a block east of it. A half a mile east of it. Anyway, and they're going to surround and wait for what pearls of wisdom Blagojevich has to say. I love this on several levels. Number one, I've said all along, I thought it was an outrageously high sentence for the crime that he committed. 14 years is what he got. I believe he spent about 7 years in federal prison in Colorado. Outrageous.
Number one.
I hope there's a second reason. It was an outrageously high sentence, and it was largely a punishment for Rod Blagojevich because he gave two middle fingers high to the entire criminal justice system, if you will, here in Chicago, Cook County, the prosecutors, the judges, the whole notion that they could dare to prosecute for him. He felt he was innocent, so he just acted bold and contemptuous of them all along, and they punished him for his behavior. So it really wasn't punishing him for the crime that he committed. They were punishing him for his behavior, and now behavior is norm with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is taking pages from the Rod Blagojevich playbook, and that's the other reason I like this. The utter hypocrisy of the Republican Party. For years and years and years, they cut their deals with Chicago Democrats, powerful Chicago Democrats like Mayor Richard Daley, Mayor Rahm Emanuel, Alderman Ed Burke, and then every now and then to show that they were pure, they would throw like a sacrificial lamb. They would sacrifice a lamb like Rod Blagojevich, not that he's innocent like a lamb, but then they would just fire themselves up with this just puffed up sense that they're reformers, that they're cleaning up corruption by going after Blago, when in fact it's the stuff that's legal that's outrageous. Like the Tribune today, great story by Hal Dardick about the Chicago TIF deal and how the whole thing is rigged to justify giving them the TIF even before they've got it. So you might want to read that story. That's the legal stuff in the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois that happens with bipartisan support, big-time Democrats, big-time Republicans, and then they'll take some guy like Blago, or they'll take some guy like Marty Sandoval, or they'll take some guy like Louis Arroyo with some petty crimes, some handoffs. I'm not justifying the crimes. I'm just saying in relation to the ongoing stuff that's legal, I don't even think it's as bad as the stuff like the TIF deals that go out to big-time developers that don't need it. Anyway, they make such a big deal. Oh, the corrupt Democratic Party. How do we clean up corruption? They're always going after Madigan. So I love it, man. What's the Tribune going to do now? Tribune Chicago, the editorial board of the Chicago Tribune has been going after Blago for, 10 years, 12 years? You know, he's been like, oh, Blago is the reason everything's bad in the state of Illinois. And then they shifted gears. They try to stick Blago, the Blago controversy on Pritzker in order to reelect Bruce Rauner. You remember that? The tapes between Blago and Pritzker. Remember how they were trying to puff that up like there was something wrong with Pritzker because they had these tape calls? There's a selective leaking of the tape calls. That was a very interesting how all of a sudden the Tribune was leaking these calls. Didn't work. Why didn't work? Because Donald John Trump cut him off at the knees by talking about commuting Blagojevich's sentence. And so all of a sudden, those MAGA hatters in Illinois, they just follow the command of the leader. You know, for years, they were led to believe that Blagojevich is the symbol of all that's evil and corrupt in the state of Illinois. And now their leader, their fearless leader, Donald Trump, is telling them, no, Blago was railroaded by the same federal prosecutors who are railroading me, Donald John Trump. So now the MAGA hatters are having to shift on a dime. Oh, my God. Well, the president says that Blago was railroaded. I got to go with the president. So I'm just really going to get a kick out of reading the Tribune tomorrow because on one hand, they want to be outraged and shocked that Blago be released from prison before he served his full 14 years. On the other hand, they're kind of MAGA hat wearers themselves. Remember their whole attitude about Trump and the phone call with the Ukraine president? Well, on one hand, some people said it was a quid pro quo. On the other hand, well, Trump says it wasn't. So I don't know. We'll just pass it along and go on with our business and pretend it didn't happen. Yeah, they don't want to alienate Donald Trump either. So I'm just going to love watching them squirm. The hypocrisy of the Republican Party in the state of Illinois, where they pretend like the corruption is the stuff that petty corruption that Democrats do. Big time corruption happens all along. All handouts to powerful corporations. They're all part of the deal to get Amazon to come to Chicago. Amazon didn't need that money. You tell me, taxpayers, what's more corrupt? Given what? Over $2 billion to the world's richest company that they don't need so that they could build in an area that's already gentrifying? Or what? Rod Blagojevich on the phone trying to cut a deal with the Obama administration to swap something for him appointing a replacement to Trump to Obama for Senate. So come on, we all know the hypocrisy that's going on. I'm really get a kick out of listening to the Republicans try to spin their way out of this one. The other breaking news, not as significant in our little universe of Illinois and Chicago, but pretty significant, to quote Larry David.
Oh, you're still watching Curb Your Enthusiasm,
yes,
huh?
Very good. By the way, you notice I'm wearing my red hat today?
Yeah, the one that looks like a MAGA hat.
Yeah, in honor of Trump for getting...
Jesus Christ. And that's our last Ben Joravsky show.
In honor of Trump for commuting Blago. So I'm wearing the red hat. Anyway, this one, I love this one. Broke at the same time. I'm going to call it up. It was in the New York Times. Probably is not going to get nearly the play here in Illinois and Chicago that the Blago one is. Bloomberg surges in poll and qualifies for next Democratic debate. Michael Bloomberg will appear on stage with his rivals for the first time on Wednesday night after a national poll showed him with 19% of the vote. 19% of the vote. The Democrats are following the Terry Cosgrove adage. Put your big boy pants on and go with the billionaire. Go with the guy who can pay for the campaign. I've got mixed feelings about this. Yes, I am of the Bernie persuasion. Yeah, everybody knows that. I'm a Bernie guy. I supported Bernie in 2016. I support him now. On the other hand, I've been saying all along, if I were a moderate centrist Democrat, which I'm not, but if I were, I would go with Bloomberg. Because if you're a moderate centrist Democrat, really, like, you don't really have an ideology. You don't have a world. You have a general opinion. You have like general opinions about what you believe in, but you don't want to take too strong of a stand because you're worried about alienating the next group. So you kind of like always trying to find some even position, middle of the road position that will sail through. So, you know, you go with Bloomberg. Yeah, so he was a Republican, you know, when the century began. Yeah, okay, so he endorsed George W. Bush. Yeah, okay, so he's for stop and frisk. Yeah, okay, so he said some outrageous things about women. Yeah, okay, but did I tell you he's got $60 billion and he can self-finance his campaign and pay for nonstop commercials and Facebook ads? Man, Democrats aren't stupid. They're like, you know, I think I'll go with that guy. I think I'll go with Bloomberg. He's at 19%. So it'll be really interesting. We're going to be following this one, folks. It'll be really interesting. Can Bloomberg make any kind of a pivot that convinces people like me or Dr. D or many of our Miles Conflassen? I'm thinking of all the Maya who'll be coming in here 1/3. Can he possibly make some sort of a pivot that would win us over? Obviously, he's not going to win us over in the primary, but can he keep the Bernie supporters supporting the Democratic Party even if he's the head? Can, by the way, the Democrats avoid a huge floor fight at the convention, a brokered convention? I don't know, man, but I'll tell you what. It looks as though all those centrists have been taking my advice, D. You know, remember, you know who must feel bad about all this? Pete Buttigieg. You know, it's like all the time, but people are like, oh, he's such a young, earnest man. I like his voice. He's really good at the debates. Oh, suddenly they're stampeding away from Buttigieg. How about Amy Klobuchar? Man, Bill Maher. Whoa, Bill Maher, remember how he was talking up Amy Klobuchar?
I love Klobuchar, people. Okay.
He ditching her.
Okay,
Can't
people.
me.
Bloomberg, okay?
Man, what do they say about the first to desert, the last to desert a sinking ship? Anyway.
I love desserts.
It looks like they're all running to Bloomberg, as I kind of knew they would. We got a great show today, everybody. We're talking politics. Oh, my goodness. Maya will be here. She's probably going to be walking in about 10 minutes. I know she's going to have a lot to say about Blago and Bloomberg and our March 3rd appearance at Promontory. Man, that's going to be a fun night. It'll be a Super Tuesday. That'll be the first night that Bloomberg's in the race, so we'll get a sense of how much support he's actually getting at the polls. I will be here. Justin Horowitz will be here, political guru. He's ready. I already talked to him, man. He's so fired up about the Blago and Bloomberg. He's a Bernie guy, D. I don't know if you know that. He's a Bernie guy. So it'll be interesting what his thoughts are about Bloomberg making his inroads. And Jimmy Bannos, we're going to take a little break from politics in the last 15 minutes of the show. Do a little Mardi Gras talk. I guess there's going to be food here in the studio. Dr. T is real excited about that.
You're kidding me. Food?
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
All
Denise
right.
O'Neill will be here to help us eat the food and talk about Mardi Gras. So plenty of talk ahead, a lot of political talk. But before we do any of that, the young man from Alton, the man they call Dr. Doobie, with the news.
Hey, everybody, how's it going? Live stream chat room. I don't know what's going on with the video. It seems like you guys are fine with it, though. You can listen to the show and look at that little logo we got there. Ben laughing and me looking like a goofball. So enjoy. I'll try and fix it as today's show rolls along, all right?
So if you can't see it, I'm wearing my red hat, my red Bulls hat, in honor of Donald
Bulls
Trump.
hat. Bulls hat. Not MAGA hat.
No, not MAGA hat. But it's in honor of Trump commuting Blago sentence.
All right, let's find out what's happening in Chicago and or Illinois this afternoon. Well, it was a slow news day until about 11:45.
Ching-ching.
Mark your calendars, people. February 18th, 2020, the day Donald Trump finally did something decent.
Correct.
ABC News has reported that President Donald Trump is expected to commute in prison former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich's 14-year prison sentence. The timing of Blagojevich's actual release from prison is not certain, but the process is expected to move quickly. So quickly, in fact, that I think he's out by now, right?
Well, it says Trump grants clemency to 3 white-collar criminals and ex-governor, so he already did it.
He was a good contestant on that show. I loved him.
Best decision you ever made, Blago, going on that stupid show, huh?
Yes, that was a good decision.
Prior to presidential action, Blagojevich was looking at a release date of May 2024. Shout out to our friends currently watching or listening over on the Ben Joravsky Show live stream chat. Live stream chat, what's going on? We got Sage Unknown. He's a new live stream chatter on the program. What's happening, Sage? Ro, Brianna, Bruce, all of you. I'm going to pose a question to you, and we'll try and read your responses at the end of the segment or throughout today's program. Here's the question. What's the first thing Rod Blagojevich does after being released? What's the first thing? I say he's getting some of that recreational legalized reefer.
Well, it's legal in Colorado.
Either that or he's going to Arby's ASAP.
No, I think the reefer. I think you're right about the reefer. In Colorado, they were way ahead of the game. By the way, can we give a shout out to Pat Rod?
Yeah.
He was one who broke the story in our little universe.
You're the man, Pat Rod. Thank you.
Pat Rod sent a image of what was it? Channel 7 was it breaking news?
Yep.
And he put that on Facebook. Dr. D sent it to me. I immediately sent it out to like everybody, every political junkie. I know a lot of political junkies, and none of them knew about it. So Pat Rod, you broke the news. Mark Sims says he's going to hop in his car, drive out to Colorado, pick up Blagojevich himself, and drive him back to Illinois.
So what's the first thing Blago does, I guess, when he's in Illinois after being released from jail? What's the first thing he does, everybody?
He's going to have a press conference. He loves press conferences, ladies and gentlemen.
He's going to be jacked, probably lifting weights and stuff there in
I
jail.
never thought about it. He was running. I saw there was a picture of him.
Yeah.
Ridiculous 14 years. Give me a break. God dang. First thing Trump's done I've ever agreed with.
All right, from Illinois governors past to present. No public events scheduled for Governor Jebediah Bartholomew Pritzker. I think it's John Robert.
No, but that's funny.
No public event scheduled, but we've now settled into 2020 here in Illinois, and I think it's safe to say that the days of getting absolutely nothing accomplished are behind us.
Yay for our teachers! Yay for our
Bruce
teachers!
Rauner,
Yeah, thanks for nothing, Bruce Rauner.
Tribune's favorite governor.
Legalized recreational cannabis has become a reality. It's been pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
We're at least trying to put a stop to all that damn dirty corruption in Illinois. More on that in moments. And by God, we have quite possibly the best 2020 State Fair summer concert lineup in the country, featuring LL Cool J, Toby Keith, and Puddle of Mud. But what about the 2020 Illinois state budget? On Wednesday, the governor will deliver his budget address to the public, and thanks to the Chicago Sun-Times and one Tina Sfandella as well, we got a little sneak peek preview of what to expect. Sfandella's writes, or types, Governor J.B. Pritzker's second-year budget will include a $147 million increase in funding for the Department of Children and Family Services to boost staffing and increase support for investigations. The governor also plans to increase the agency's headcount to 3,056 employees, up from 2,758 employed in 2018. That's intended to reduce caseloads for overwhelmed investigations and to boost staffing at a hotline set up to receive calls about cases of child abuse and neglect. Pritzker's budget also proposes funding a third simulation lab in Illinois to help train investigators on finding signs of abuse and neglect.
Yeah, that's good selective releasing of information by the Pritzker. They know how to play the game, right? So there's a budget coming down. It's they want to make sure that they're on top of all the issues, so they figure out what's the best issue to lead with. DCFS. But can I just go back to Blago for a moment? I
got a feeling it's going to happen a lot today, so just go ahead.
Just listening, to. Okay, let me back up. Just listen to your story about how Pritzker operates. He's a far better governor, obviously, than Rauner, who was a complete and utter failure as a governor, who used his position of power to try to destroy collective bargaining rights in Illinois and failed, was cheered on by like this extreme right wing, like the Chicago Tribune's editorial board and various other, Republican-funded think tanks, etc. But even Blago, Blago was sort of a wacky governor, you know what I mean? In many, he really was Trump before Trump. He just he tried it to the huge disadvantage he had over what Trump has is that Blago did not have direct access to the people the way Trump does with Twitter. There was no Twitter back in the Blago days. And so he had to rely on the media to help him broadcast his message, and the media couldn't stand him. I can tell you that for personal. I didn't like the guy either, although I did believe the 14 years was outrageous. I've said it a million times.
Watch your hands on that desk.
Oh, God, I'm feeling so excited about this, feeling my inner Sergio Mims. So when I watch how Pritzker still operates as though we're in a pre-Trump era where there's a game you sort of play by the official rules. Well, we've studied the budget. This is our preliminary budget. This is what we're going to be addressing. You selectively release bits and pieces of it so you get positive press, and then you give a speech where you try to appeal as a bipartisan leader of the state that you're interested in the Republican view, you're interested in the Democratic view. This is not how the game is really played in politics today. It's like politics today, it's just like Coliseum, and it's the Christians versus the Lions. It's like people fighting for survival. Donald Trump, it's very much a partisan game. You attack anybody that dares to disagree with you. There is no working across the aisle. So it's interesting that J.B. Pritzker is sort of playing by rules that existed before Trump and existed before Blagojevich in the state of Illinois. These are the old school rules. Former Governor Pat Quinn, good friend of the show, he also played by those rules.
PQ, what's up?
He played by those rules, and that's why I always said, Pat, you're playing by these rules. The other side's not playing by these rules, so you ended up getting played. So what's interesting, J.B. Pritzker is still pretending as though we have bipartisan spirit in the state of Illinois, in the politics in this country. Good God, if he signs onto a fair map proposal, that'll be a true sign of insanity. I hope he doesn't do that. But anyway, interesting when I hear you read that story and talk about the calm approach of Pritzker, like he's, measured statements and views of the world, and then I contrast it to Donald Trump and how he runs the White House. It's almost as though there are two different political universes.
Yeah, J.B. Pritzker, in year 2 of being Illinois governor, we've come to learn with J.B. Pritzker that you can take the big feller out of the city, but you can't take the city out of the big feller, because when the governor has no public events scheduled, there's a good chance he's in Chicago. But I really hope he's hanging at the governor's mansion in Springfield today, because if so, he could spend a little time with our Chicago mayor.
This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine.
Yes, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot is at the state capitol this afternoon. Why? Well, if at first you don't succeed, try again, Ben Joravsky. It's round 2 of trying to convince the Illinois lawmakers to consider lowering the tax rates on a Chicago casino. Because according to Lightfoot, if the tax rates aren't lowered, then big gambling companies won't bid on operating a casino in Chicago.
Yeah, so in other words, won't make enough money from the suckers and saps who gamble and throw away their money, because, guys, it's a losing proposition. That's why they have gambling casinos, because it's set up so you lose. But so anyway, they're not going to make enough money. They got to give them a bigger take. Well, it always, like I've been saying this all along, who's going to lose? So some rich head of the gambling casino wins. Is it the state? Is it the city? Are they going to split it down the middle? So listen, they set up the rules one way. That was to give it a third. The city, the state, and the casino ruler. Then Lori Lightfoot suddenly said it's not enough money for the casino operators. We need to cut back the amount the city or the state or both take. I would like to see them go out for bids. Let's see. What, you tell me nobody wants in on this lucrative contract? Nobody? Or is there somebody already in the mix who said, I want a bigger stake? I don't know. It's a hard thing to sell. This is what I'm saying, folks. It's like the legal stuff that we just accept and tolerate, like front page of the Tribune story on the TIF deal, where Sterling Bay wrote the TIF report, Suckers and Saps in Chicago. Well, city says it deserves it. Turns out the report was written by Sterling Bay. And now we have a situation where we're going to take a little of the money that's Suckers and Saps who gamble are going to give to the casino, to the state and the city, and give it to the owners. It's the stuff that's legal that really bothers me more than Rod Blagojevich on the phone trying to cut a deal with the Obama people on who replaces Obama as senator.
All right, and finally, corruption. Apparently, 2 other states do it better than Illinois, but no city does it better than Chicago. That's
correct.
The following comes from Block Club Chicago, Hannah Alani, I may have butchered that last name, and Heather Sharon. According to a new report from the University of Illinois at Chicago, Chicago remains America's most corrupt city.
The author of that report, I believe, was Dick Simpson.
Well, you're... The report, co-authored by UIC professor and former alderman Dick Simpson, Mr. Impatient over here.
Who's impossible to get a hold of. I'm really busy.
It's based on
He always tells me that too.
I'm so busy.
Every time I interview Dick Simpson, oh, this isn't on.
It is on.
Is it on? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
Every time I interview Dick Simpson, he always starts off the conversation by telling me how busy he is.
I'm really busy. In other words, let's harumph, get this conversation over with fast. Okay, I'm going to talk really fast with my questions.
Here's the quote from Simpson. Blah, 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 blah. No, just kidding. The quote from Simpson, quote, "Our study shows that Chicago remains the most corrupt city in the United States with 1,750 total public corruption convictions from 1976 through 2018. This number is even more troubling when compared to the second place city, Los Angeles, which has had 200 fewer convictions in that time period."
All right, so we counted convictions. I stand by what I said. The stuff that's really outrageous is the stuff that's perfectly legal, like front page of the Chicago Tribune. Let's give Hal Dardick credit. They come up with a TIF eligibility report. Guess who authored it? A bunch of experts, quote unquote, hired by the developers getting the money.
Say, watch your mouth, buddy. I thought you were going to curse.
I guess that's totally legal. But somehow or other, that's less corrupt than some knucklehead passing on a $5,000 bribe. Just saying, Maya. It's the legal stuff that really irritates me.
Illinois remains the third most corrupt state. We'll get to number one eventually. Right?
Wait, we're only number 3?
Yeah, we're number 3.
Whoa, okay, I cut you off again.
Well, I mean, I don't have that information, but I would assume New York and California? I don't know. It said Los Angeles on there.
I'm looking at Maya. I'm thinking, who's number 1?
I mean, honestly, I feel like corruption in New York is really kind of child's play compared to the stuff that goes on here. So
I don't know, man. There's some weird stuff that's going down in New Jersey's no joke either.
Jersey is a corrupt place.
Yeah,
Jersey is a corrupt place.
I mean, they're all corrupt. I don't know, like, why Chicago acts like. I don't know if Chicago's any more corrupt than Cleveland. I'm just, you know what I'm saying?
All right.
Just picking on Cleveland.
Our Cleveland listeners out there.
I'm just saying. I mean, I don't study Cleveland. We're obsessed with petty corruption in the city of Chicago. Louis Arroyo passing on a bribe, you know what I'm saying? Or taking a bribe. So
you better get that story right.
Yeah, no, it's the taking, not the passing. Sorry, Louis. Really, what's the difference? But anyway, in terms of corruption, right? Yeah, I don't know, man. Like Cincinnati. What makes you think Cincinnati's so pure?
Illinois remains the third most corrupt state based on the formula that compares the number of each area's corruption convictions with its population, according to the report issued by Simpson and his students.
So what, they took the number of convictions and they made a ratio compared to the number of people who live in the... Whoa. Why didn't I think of that? That's why he's so busy. He's thinking of things.
Yeah, man.
I'm busy.
He's busy with the important questions. But it doesn't say who the first and second ranked states are.
No, I can take a look and I'll see if I can find that when we come back.
All right, let's make a bet. I say number 1 is New York. And I'm going to go with Dennis. I'm going to just go based on sheer population. I think all cities...
Well, Los Angeles was the, number 2.
You're saying convictions per population.
Is that what the measure is?
Yes.
Convictions? Could be Louisiana. There's not a lot of people in Louisiana. It's pretty corrupt.
Or Texas.
But there's a lot of people in Texas. Oh man, this is the kind of gambling game that you lose your money at the casinos doing, trying to figure this out.
No gambling on the show.
All right, I say New York and Louisiana.
We'll keep you posted on these stories as today's program rolls along. We'll go to the live stream chat room real quick. Today's question on the live stream chat: what's the first thing Rod Blagojevich is going to do when being released from prison? Let's see here. Shout out to Alan What's going on, Alan? Have you been on the live stream chat before? Are you new? What's going on? Alan says Blago is going to his beautician to get his hair dyed.
That's right. His hair's turned gray or white or whatever. So yeah.
Silver Fox. I say keep it undyed.
Charlie Fox.
All right, we got more. Weigh in. Let us know what you think Rob Blagojevich is going to do when released from prison. We'll be reading your comments throughout today's program. I mean, if it's not absurdly foul, we'll read it. And don't go anywhere. The Ben Joravsky Show will be right back. Our Chicago Reader colleague Maya Dukmasova is with us. It's the Ben Joravsky Show live from the Chicago Sun-Times. Read the Chicago Reader to get up to speed on what's what in Chicago. Culture, food, arts and entertainment, weekly concert listings, weekly event listings, the environment, travel. I can continue, but you get the point. And for all of you Chicago political junkies, raw weekly columns on real city politics from Maya Dukmasova and our very own Ben Joravsky. The Chicago Reader, free to the public in newsstands throughout the city and online at chicagoreader.com. Read it now and be a more informed Chicagoan.
Hey, everybody. What you're about to hear are the piano stylings of Jeff Manuel. Man, listen to Jeff go. Jeff Manuel has been playing piano around Chicago for years. He's played for conventions, for celebrities, played in basement bars with blues bands. He's played at prestigious social clubs, fine restaurants, and in the intimacy of private homes. Book Jeff Manuel at jeffemanuelpianist.com. Don't worry, I'll spell his name at the end of this commercial. You know what Chicago Magazine said? They said that Jeff Manuel is, quote, as comfortable with Chopin as he is with Cole Porter. He's excellent, and his performance is joy. Work. And to book Jeff for your next event, go to jeffemanuelpianist.com. I'm going to spell it out for you, people. Jeff, M as in Mary, A, N as in Nancy, UELPIANIST.com. Take it away, Jeff Manuel.
Commercial break over. Welcome back to the Ben Joravsky Show, live from the Chicago Sun-Times.
Trump commuted Blago sentence. Trump commuted Blago sentence. I'm really happy about that, folks. First thing Trump's done that I've liked. 14 years was ridiculous, and plus the utter freaking hypocrisy, and I'll say this again and again, of the Republican Party in the state of Illinois, how they pretend as though they're cracking down on corruption when they look the other way at all the stuff that's quote-unquote legal, all right, and up to their eyebrows in politicians like Rahm, Daley, Ed Burke. Every now and then they get outraged at Blago. Yes, sir.
Shout out to Roe. He put on the live stream chat. Blago's going to hold a press conference as soon as he's out, praising Trump to the heavens and denouncing the Democratic candidates. That's part of the deal.
That is part of the deal. Yes. Yes. It's exactly what he's going to do. And now, having said all this, my beloved Democratic voters in the state of Illinois, my beloved Democratic voters throughout the country, if you're so stupid as to vote for Donald John Trump because he commuted Rob Blagojevich's sentence, you should give up your voting rights. That's all I'm saying, all right? This is an inside deal. You're right. You know what? And Dennis pointed out, I'd forgotten this, Maya, that Blago was a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice. So you know how Trump's universe is. Oh, he's a good guy. He was on my show, you know? And, all right, but this is what I really want to talk about.
Okay.
The breaking news about Blago is the big breaking news in Illinois and Chicago, yes. But the big breaking news outside of Illinois and Chicago is that Michael Bloomberg surges in poll and qualifies for Democratic debate in Vegas. That's this Wednesday's debate. After garnering 19%, Maya, 19% support in a national poll, the billionaire will be on the debate stage where he is certain to be a target of on-stage criticism. Duh!
Can the Joe Biden campaign even spell 19%?
Ooh, dang.
It's wild.
man.
19%.
19% is no joke. Bernie is number one with 31% in the latest poll. And let's see, it's just all sort of divided from there. The debate will be this Wednesday at 8 o'clock. It'll be on NBC News, MSNBC. I'm not feeling MSNBC these days, I just got to tell you that.
Neither am I. I no longer have any access to their programming. I don't have cable. I don't have any kind of apps that I'm signed up for that would allow me to watch it. So really not feeling anything with regards to MSNBC anymore.
Well, okay, so you're not feeling because you don't have access to them. I never had access to them, but last week they're anti-Bernie tilt.
Even Rachel Maddow? She's got an anti-Bernie tilt?
Well, you know what? I should amend. I should keep Rachel Maddow out of the conversation
keep
because
her-
I don't
keep-
watch.
keep
No, I don't watch her show.
Keep Rachel out
Now
of
we're
this.
throwing them all under the bus.
But I just watch their post. Their post New Hampshire coverage, their post Iowa coverage. This is the stuff I watch on the internet. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're the liberals. Like, you're supposed to pretend you're the liberals or the lefties, whatever they are. You got to at least pretend that you care about the Bernie people and the party. He's 30% of the party. They act as though like it's this radical fringe that's corrupting the real Democratic Party. Do you get what? He's 30%, 31%. There, everybody's talking about. We're talking about Bloomie with his 19, but Bernie is 31%. So
Yeah.
I got my issues with MSNBC on that one.
Yeah. It's this Michael Bloomberg thing is getting serious. It's getting serious. Like I was listening to the today's episode of The Daily, which was all about his candidacy and the way that he's financed this campaign and kind of the way he's developed an enormous amount of political influence in the country, not through campaign donations and support for particular politicians, but through his philanthropy. Every single kind of liberal, left-leaning, center-left nonprofit in the country, whether it's about, public health issues, guns, all of that stuff, they receive a lot of money from Michael Bloomberg. And there was this incredible moment that the reporter in the episode describes of Michael Bloomberg coming to Washington to have a meeting with a bunch of moderate Congress people. Usually in these situations, when there's some kind of power broker, people, approach the conversation as sort of like, well, what are you going to do for me if I support this or that thing for you? The conversation that people were having with Michael Bloomberg began with, this was based on two sources who were at this meeting, according to the reporter, who both described it in this way. As people went around the table introducing themselves, all of them began their statements by thanking Michael Bloomberg for everything he had already done for them through his philanthropic activities related to issues that were important to them. So it's really hard to imagine him energizing voters the way that, say, Obama did, right? It's hard to imagine Michael Bloomberg being the reason for a big an unusual turnout. That clearly seems to be more of something that Bernie would be able to accomplish. But so far, the turnout in Iowa and New Hampshire, from what I understand, has not been record-breaking.
New Hampshire, Iowa was down, New Hampshire was up.
Up more than last time, or up like record-breaking up?
Well, record-breaking, I don't know. It was up more than last time. I don't know if it was record-breaking, so I don't know. I just read about this, and I'm looking for the exact total, but I can't find it here. Anyway.
I think basically, if the turnout situation is not going to vastly improve, if we're not going to start to see really huge upticks in turnout around the country, then the kind of reliable voters, the people who everyone is obsessed with flipping, etc., a lot of those people are, I think, going to be pretty swayable for Bloomberg. They're going to be pretty. It's going to be possible to capture those votes.
Well, I could.
I don't think he can convince. I don't think he's a candidate that's going to really mobilize people who don't normally vote. But I think he is a kind of candidate that's going to be attractive to the Mayor Pete Klobuchar Biden
crowd.
axis.
Yeah, he's already stealing their votes. He's already. I gotta.
And you know what? The
perverse.
Lakefront Liberals, Ben.
Yes.
The Chicago Lakefront Liberals.
Yes.
They'll vote for Michael Bloomberg.
They love Michael Bloomberg.
They'll vote for him over Mayor Pete. Some of them. I
Oh my
think.
God! They've already thrown Mayor Pete out the window. Are you kidding? Sorry, Mayor Pete.
Oh, we actually have a quote from Bloomberg on his recent jump in the polls. Oh, wait. It's just the sound of money. No words.
So here's the deal. Our show, we have a lot of Bernie people come through this show. We have a lot of Bernie listeners on our show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Maya has officially declared who she's voting for, but I know the spirit of Maya is very Bernie, okay? Whether she wants to admit it or not. And so...
Listen, the Chicago Reader can't have two political columnists. You do understand that, right?
That's fine. But I'm just talking...
I really need to keep this job, Ben.
Okay, but I'm just telling you the spirit that emanates from you, okay? When you're just not thinking about things and you're just being Maya, going on a
when
riff.
I'm not thinking about things, okay.
The consequences of what you're saying, and you're just riffing like Hendrix on guitar. That's like, wow, all of a sudden the headphones are really popping. I like it, man. Good job.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, the spirit of Bernie is very strong in this show. All right, let's be
Animated by the spirit.
Yeah. So I know Bernie supporters. They're not, to put it mildly, in any way enticed by Bloomberg. And so I'm telling Michael Bloomberg's people are essentially in this city, in this state, the same crowd that elected Rahm, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And their attitude toward Bernie supporters is F them. We don't need them. We can win without them. Just shut up, get in line, and we don't care if you're mad at us. In fact, we'll use your being mad at us as a way to win over lakefront liberals.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've existed in this world. They're not winning this election against Donald John Trump without Bernie support. If Bloomberg is able to capture this nomination, I'm not conceding anything on this point. I think it's a wide open race still. Bernie's still ahead, 31-19, even with all the commercials in the latest poll. But let's say Bloomy is the nominee. You can't treat Bernie supporters with the utter disdain that Rahm treats lefties, or that Rahm treats the Chicago Teachers Union, or even that Lori treats the Chicago Teachers Union. You cannot treat people on the left like, they're dust. You know what I mean? They're dandruff on your shoulder. You just brush them off. You have to appeal to Bernie supporters somehow. I don't know how the heck Bloomberg, with his record. I just did a story for the Reader on this point, going through his record. It's pretty atrocious if you're a lefty. And so I don't know how they're going to do that pivot. If he is the nominee, I think it's going to have to start at the convention, because there's probably going to be a fierce fight. There could be a brokered convention, Amaya. And so I don't
like a fractured convention, like what they thought might happen at the RNC when Trump was nominated.
Yes, we had Maggie Wonderly on, Bernie Sanders delegate extraordinaire. We should bring her to one of our shows. She knows the rules inside and out. She was explaining the rules. Maggie Wonderly from Kane County, a Bernie delegate who spent 4 years, in the rooms where they were discussing rules and arguing among themselves, the Democrats, different factions with the Democrats. Now here comes Bloomy, boom, with 19, with all his billions. He's not 19%, so he bypasses the rule they set up about fundraising ability. They changed the rule to allow him on the debate stage. So anyway, I was talking to her, and it could very well be a brokered convention, at which point all the delegates are free to vote for whoever they want at the convention floor. And there's just this incredible wheeling and dealing in Milwaukee, behind the scenes, Lord knows what's being promised, and et cetera. I don't know what Bloomberg can say or do to win over Bernie voters. I don't know. Do you think it's possible?
No, but I think that what is possible is he's not going to win over Bernie voters, but Bernie voters may be demoralized enough to. I mean, at the end of the day, your question is about whether or not what he's going to do to win over Bernie people for the nomination. He'll focus his energy on everything else, except for them. And later on down the line, the question is, will Bernie voters turn out to vote for Bloomberg? And I think a lot of them will not. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but...
No, I think that as it now stands, and again, we're in February, so we have a long way to go on this thing. But as it now stands, I do not believe a significant number of Bernie supporters will support Michael Bloomberg.
No, they won't.
They won't, and they'll stay at home. And so Michael Bloomberg...
And, well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Michael Bloomberg will have to come up with a new combination to win. And I don't know if that combination is out there.
And you don't think he can win without them?
I do not believe that 31%. Right now they're at 31%, or a third of the party. And see, this is what mainstream centrist Dems, they have such disdain for the Bernie crowd. But the Bernie crowd is now 30% at least of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And I've never seen an attempt by mainstream Dems to win over the Democrat. You should hear the stuff they tell me off the record, how much they hate Bernie, how much they hate his supporters. You get what I'm saying? I don't know what they're going to do to win over Bernie supporters. And so part of me thinks, if they follow the Rahm strategy, you know how Rahm ran for re-election in this city. He didn't care about the people that read your stories. You know what I'm saying? The people that are outraged by the things that you wrote about, you didn't care about them. You wrote them off.
Take a chill pill, man.
Oh, sorry, Rahm. And these are the same people, like I said, essentially running Bloomberg's campaign. This is how Bloomberg ran in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, Rahm followed the playbook that Bloomberg wrote when Bloomberg came before Rahm.
Yeah, it's kind of bleak. I guess I'm feeling kind of low energy about this whole situation because it's just something that, I don't know. I feel like there's some kind of, it feels like some kind of an inevitability is creeping in with this Bloomberg candidacy. Like, this is exactly what would happen. This is like kind of the historical precedent is not on the side of some kind of real huge swing to the left happening in these present circumstances. Like this is I don't know. I feel like this is the time when oligarchs and plutocrats are going to continue to gain ground. And the thing is that it's not about Bernie not doing enough or there not being enough supporters or not that message not resonating enough. It's not about that. It's about the combination of, I mean, the amount of money around Michael Bloomberg is, it's just unfathomable to most people. Like it's like people don't even know where his money comes from. Like people don't understand how integral this person and his company is to like the way global capitalism runs. Like this person created something without which the current financial like kind of world order could not exist. So the politics, everything else, the philanthropy that comes out of that, the policy, whatever, it all just trickles down from this like source, this like much deeper source of power and money. And I don't know. I just, that combined with the ongoing foreign interference from Russia and maybe elsewhere, and that decades-long process of voter disenfranchisement, suppression, and gerrymandering, like the cocktail is just like, you know, like the level of turnout needed to counteract those forces is like monumental, much bigger than for Obama, you know, and the odds that, you know, somebody like Bernie is facing now with getting that turnout are much steeper. The road is much steeper than it was for Obama to get that turnout. So you need more, and it's harder to get it. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. And the question also that was discussed on this episode of The Daily today was also the inroads Bloomberg has made in the Black community, and the degree to which, like, how the process by which he's doing reputation management and reputation repair, despite the stop and frisk, despite the like tremendously Islamophobic policies he had in New York City, with like mosque raids and all of that stuff. He is like, I don't know. I wonder what Brandon Johnson would think about this, but I think that a lot of there's reason to believe he could be much more successful gaining traction among established, reliable, likely voters in the Black community than Bernie when it comes to capturing the Biden people, the Biden voters in the Black community. So I don't know.
Well, this is where I must...
He's doing a lot of work there. Yeah. And he's got so much money that he's funneled into so much municipal politics. Like, Michael Bloomberg's money is getting school board candidates elected in California and in other places. Like it like the amount of money he's funneled into the Bay Area politics is like off the charts. Yeah. This octopus is like literally so big you can't even see all parts of it at once, So I don't know. And nobody wants to touch anything that might jeopardize the cash flow from him to their issues. So this, you asked me when we were talking on the phone beforehand about, the sexual harassment stuff that's come out. I mean, it made no difference with the Trump base, but like this is, if people were jaded and disappointed and outraged and shocked about how little difference it made for Trump, for this stuff to come out, that people really didn't care about this stuff and voted for him anyway, that's like, I feel like it was a moment where a lot of especially, liberal people in this country were like, wow, people in this country really hate women. Like, yeah, but this will be like in even starker relief with Bloomberg, because it's not even just like voters in this country hate women. It's the fact that like all these Emily's List, all of these organizations that are about female empowerment, about getting women elected, about gun control, about mothers and children, they are going to not jeopardize their cash flow from Michael Bloomberg. You're not going to hear them out there you're not going to hear Emily's List announcing Bloomberg, because something like 17 of the 23 candidates that he helped elect in 2018 were women. It's like, there's just no uncompromised position for these giant organizations. Every town, these massive liberal organizations. They that's when you get to that's when you'll see what's actually far more outrageous than like the kind of ingrained interpersonal toxic masculinity that allows like a bunch of women to stand up and say, we don't care what Trump, who he sexually assaulted or what kind of things he said on that bus and whatever. Like this is like institutional affirmation that really all of this stuff doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, again, none of this should be shocking at all. Not like, but I don't think that this country, in a sort of historical context in where we are right now, is gonna. I don't know if there's enough fervor to revolt against this in this moment. Like the things that potentiate revolutions, and I'm talking about like real revolutions, not like, let's have let's have a system that's like more like Germany or Sweden, you know. Like at the end of the day, Bernie, you know, just like social democratic kind of principles. This is pretty basic stuff. Like this is not revolutionary by any stretch of the imagination. However you might want to brand it as the Bernie campaign, it's not revolutionary. This country has moved leftwards in the wake of massive, like, ontological crises, like Great Depression. You know, there was a brief moment after the Civil War, you know, Reconstruction period. There was some brief movement leftwards, and then, you know, after the Great Depression, and even that was like severely compromised. Like this, nothing here, like just nothing there hasn't been a sufficiently large crisis here for Michael Bloomberg to like no longer matter, for Michael Bloomberg to be like, unsuccessful in his endeavor. Like I really struggle to imagine what might happen that would derail his candidacy.
Well, derail his candidacy to win the Democratic nomination, defeating Donald Trump is a whole other ballgame. But to get you're talking about to get the Democratic nomination, and man, that was a great Meyer riff. By the way, we talk about Meyer riffs. Remember, I told you you never know that lefty side of her is going to come out. But when I was listening to the couple things that you said, one point I got to give a shout out to David Seaton, who's been a guest on this show, and he's a very much of a centrist. And he's a talk show host with Atibu Buchanan on WVON, and he debated a Bernie Sanders supporter on the show. It was a very interesting debate, and what Seaton was saying about the black community and the black vote, he was saying by and large, it's a very pragmatic, practical voter, particularly the older black voters, and they're going to go with the person that they think has the best chance of winning. And when you were talking about the shift that you're seeing already in polls from away from Biden by black voters, and I have to smile about it, because at first when Biden was getting that support, I would listen to voters saying, well, you know, he was with Barack Obama and he stood by him, so I got loyalty. And well, open window, throw out loyalty. Michael Bloomberg's the new pretty face on the block. He's got the money. Practical voters. I think that just speaks to a certain amount of quote unquote practicality. Like, who can win? Money wins. Let's not kid ourselves. This is the system that we have. It's a system driven by money and ability to control the internet and the ability to control the message that you see in the boob tube. And so voters, they follow the game and they know what the game is.
Money wins when you don't have the id harnessed. Like, Donald Trump, let's remember, was not the money candidate, not compared to Hillary Clinton. But he harnessed a kind of he harnessed the id. He harnessed this is populism, you know. He harnessed the kind of energy that people went out there not with the thought of like, who can I vote for that's most likely to win, or, you know, this is like interviews with people in Iowa about who they were in caucus for. Like, who do other people like? Who do I vote for that other people like? That is the exact opposite of the energy on which Trump won this election. Yeah. Like, that is totally the opposite thing from what got that guy elected. Mm-hmm. What got that guy elected is a lot of people going out there and saying, fuck it, I'm voting for the guy who's saying the stuff I'm only able to say in my head. And I feel uncomfortable living in this country not being able to say it out loud. And this guy makes it okay for me to say it out loud. So I'm going to vote for this guy. You know, like that, you can't, like, the money can beat that. But I think in a context of like pretty intense voter suppression, pretty intense, like just general level of apathy, lack of energy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because in that context, in order for money not to win, you need something that harnesses these kind of more, this kind of excitement and energy on a personal level that's like way more intense than anything Michael Bloomberg can generate in people.
All right, our next guest, Justin Horowitz, is on deck. He's ready to talk. We got the 3 Bs. Dennis, I can't believe you didn't think of this. You're Mr. Alliteration. Bernie, Bloomberg, and Blago. 3 Bs.
Holy Lord.
Yeah, man. Whoa. And the third one, Reefer. Oh, wait, that's not a B. Anyway, he'll be talking about Bernie, Blago, and Bloomberg. Can the people beat the money in the Democratic primary? We're going to talk to Justin Horowitz about that. Before we let Maya go, Maya, let's promote. March 3rd.
March 3rd, our First Tuesdays Roadshow. Everyone should come through the Promontory in Hyde Park at 6 o'clock. We're going to have some very special guests discussing the Super Tuesday. We're going to have it's a pre-Super Tuesday event, panel discussion. You want to...
Yeah, I'm just going to say I'm so excited. We got Jeanette Taylor, the alderwoman of the 20th Ward, and she's with Bernie. We got Delmarie Cobb, the legendary political strategist, both frequent guests on our show. Delmarie is a Hillary Clinton supporter. So we're going to have a wide range.
And we have Kofi Ademola, who is an organizer, super progressive, lefty, organizer, co-founder of a bunch of organizations that are doing abolitionist work in the city. So we've got a real left perspective
Holy
as well.
Cow. This sounds amazing. When is it?
Yeah, March 3rd.
Where?
6 p.m. at the Promontory in Hyde Park. And it's free.
Free?
Whoa.
For all of our...
Free?
Free 99 for all of our beloved audience members who usually show up at the Hideout. I don't know what kind of commute people do to get there, but hopefully it's an enticement to come join us in Hyde Park because, that's $5 you don't have to pay to see us that night.
Yeah, it's free, and Dr. D will be there signing autographs.
Oh, yeah. All 2 of you. Come on by. And Maya, I just know you like this clip. We played it earlier. I don't think you were here.
Yay for our teachers! Yay for our teachers!
That governor of ours, Bruce Rauner.
Maybe Bruce Rauner is going to be there.
Oh, man.
not.
He'll be signing autographs.
Oh. Come on, do your Bruce Rauner
That's
imitation.
it. It's just a sound.
All right, Maya, thank you very much. Justin Horowitz on deck. We're getting ready to talk 3 Bs, Bernie, Blago, and Bloomberg. We'll be right back. Did you know that 40% of the people in Illinois opt to be cremated? Well, it's true. And Chicagoland Cremation Options honors their wishes by providing cremation services directly to the general public. Chicagoland Cremation Options provides an affordable, ethical, and easy cremation arrangement, whether in person or online. Save thousands and streamline the process by going directly to Chicagoland Cremation Options. It's a family-owned business operated by my good friend, Douglas Klein. Here's how you reach them. ChicagolandCremationOptions.com. One more time, ChicagolandCremationOptions.com.
How did you go from sharing stories over the years to deciding to write a book?
Good question, Mayor. Good question.
It's the butter cow, which has 9 hearts to represent the 9 essential nutrients in milk.
Dude,
It's Chicagoland's adult entertainment playground. It's the world-famous Admiral Theater, 3940 West Lawrence Avenue. The Admiral is homegrown from Chicago, and it's the most conveniently located club in all of the city. 15 minutes from the O'Hare Airport in downtown Chicago Loop. Voted Chicago's best strip club, the Admiral has showgirls galore and a variety of adult entertainment shows. The world-famous Admiral Theater, open every day from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. 3940 West Lawrence Avenue. For events, showtime, and other information, visit AdmiralX.com. Must be 18 years of age or older to enter.
All right, everybody, hour number 2 of your Ben Joravsky Show is just moments away. By the way, live stream chat room, we're going to be answering reading your comments here in a few minutes, so get them in right now. The question of the day, what is the first thing Rod Blagojevich does after being released from prison? We got a lot of comments here.
Oh, I can't wait to hear those comments, man.
Yeah. Smoke Reefer was one of them. Mine was Arby's. He's going to get him some good old Arby's sandwich. Someone said getting his hair dyed back to black. I say no. You look good with the Silver Fox look.
Yeah.
You know he probably listened to the show.
Wait, Silver Fox, wasn't it Charlie Rich? I said Charlie Fox, but it was Charlie Rich, wasn't it?
None of us know, Ben, because you're old. Hang tight, millennials.
Justin Horowitz knows. He's a big-time Charlie Rich fan.
Oh, yeah. Who isn't? So that's the question there. What's the first thing Blago does after being released from prison? By the way, that happened today. If you just tuned in and you haven't read the news or
Wait,
anything.
time out. Did he get released already?
Okay, well, we're getting there.
All right, I'm sorry, my bad.
I know. You're a stickler for the details, and that's why we like you, Ben Joravsky. All right, but before we get into hour number 2, we got to thank the following unions for jumping on board and sponsoring this program. Unions like the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, Local 126 and District 8.
That's correct.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 9 are sponsors, as well as the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150. Couldn't do it without you guys. And, of course, today's program is brought to you by our good friends at the Chicago Federation of Labor. Hour number 2. Wait for it. Hold on. Hour number 2. Oh, where the hell did my song go here? Hold on. Nope. Hour number 2, let's go. It is Tuesday, February 18th, and live from the Chicago Sun-Times Chicago Reader Studio on Racine Avenue, this is The Ben Joravsky Show. In this hour of the program, political strategist Justin Horowitz makes his return, and we're talking all things Mardi Gras, because why the hell not, with the Mardi Gras master, Jimmy Bannos. And now your host, Mardi Gras master? Yeah, probably not. Chicago Reader columnist Ben Joravsky.
Jimmy Bannos is bringing in food. All right, I heard. That's what Denise O'Neill told me, so we'll see about that food, but I'm looking forward to that. Justin Horowitz on deck. We're going to bring him on. He's getting ready to talk 3 Bs. Blago, Bernie, Bloomberg. 3 Bs, D, get it?
I thought you meant the Better Business Bureau.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about, the Better Business Bureau.
No, I did not mean the Better Business Bureau. But you got an update for us, young man?
Absolutely, I do. First off, everybody, if you've yet to, you should find the Ben Joravsky Show on social media at Benny J Show, BENNY, the letter J Show, on both Facebook and Twitter. The Ben Joravsky Show on Instagram. Ben's in charge of the Instagram account. How's that going?
Real, oh my God, it's blown up.
Really?
Yeah. I put a picture of me, my shoes, and your head. It's unbelievable.
Boy, that's how to draw them into that Instagram
Zuckerberg
page.
called me. Hey, could you take it down? It's just overwhelming our computers. They're breaking down. All right. I said, all right, Mark, for you, take care of it.
Yeah, shout out to the live stream chat room. We're going to read your comments right now. By the way, yes, video's down. You got the logo there. Just listen and enjoy the Ben Joravsky Show, all right? All right, question. What's the first thing Rod Blagojevich does once he's released from prison? Several of you have weighed in. Let's read more of your comments. Ricky weighed in. Ricky says, change his hair oil.
His hair oil? Ooh, I don't think he had any hair oil in prison.
Ben says, give it a rest. Oh, not a big fan of the Blago segment, I guess.
Oh, man. Ben, harumph. I'm Ben. Well, and I approve this ad. Harumph. Hey, it's got my name, man. I'm serious.
Yeah, the same attitude, too. All right.
I like Blago segment.
Let's see here. More of you have weighed in here. I'm just looking for Harumph.
I'm like, he's like 23-year-old. Harumph.
All right. I'm looking around here on the live stream chat, finding your comments here. I saw quite a few of them. Where the hell did they go? Oh, Brianna asked a great question here. She says, do you think Blago has the stones to run for governor again?
Go for it, you know? I think the laws would prevent him, though. I'm not even sure if he's eligible to vote. We need a lawyer in here to help me with that one.
Shout out to Kyle. Kyle says, Blago starts a tattoo shop. I assume he gave tattoos in prison. Either that or he becomes a father rights lawyer.
Father? Justin's laughing at that one.
All right. And let's see here. Sage Unknown. What's going on, Sage? Sage says, first thing Blago does, get himself back into trouble. Okay.
Yeah. Stay away from trouble, Blago. Okay?
Brianna says, I say Blago is going to walk out of prison in full Elvis gear since he was an Elvis impersonator at one time.
Yes, he was.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. Brianna, why did you know that? Ben, why did you know that?
Oh, come on. That's before your time. Blago, basically, his career began before your time and before Justin's time. You guys are both young. But when Blago burst on the scene, he was very proud of his Elvis imitation. Oh, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? That's my Elvis imitation.
All right. And finally here, man, we had one real good comment on what Blago's going to do. I'm going to look for it here, and when we come back, I will read it. Weigh in with your comments, everybody. What's the first thing Blago does when he's released from prison? Or, if you just want to talk about Bloomberg, the 3 Bs, Bloomberg, Bernie, and Biden.
No, Blago.
Oh, well, we got a 4th B.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Does Biden even make the list?
Makes half of it. He's only half all there.
Oh, yeah. It's only a half there.
All right. Keep your comments coming, everybody. At Benny J Show, BENNY, the letter J Show, if you want to post it on Facebook or Twitter as well.
All right. Very good. Justin Horowitz, I really want to talk Bernie, Bloomberg with you, and maybe Biden as well. The news broke in the New York Times. We were all talking about Blago, but the news broke that a latest poll has Bloomberg at 19%. 19%.
Right.
Justin, that's no joke. And as a result, he's eligible to be on the debate stage this Wednesday. I think it's in Vegas. Don't quote me on that, but I think the next debate is in Vegas. And so he's eligible to be on the debate stage. They changed the rules to take away one of their requirements in terms of fundraising, because let's face it, folks, fundraising is not a problem with Michael Bloomberg. But before we do that, just thoughts about Blago. I know I was teasing that you and Dennis are a little of the younger persuasion, so Blago's career began before you guys were really political junkies and following this stuff. But coming of age for kids, for millennials, there's two things. Barack Obama, and I'm talking about people from millennials from Chicago and Illinois, Barack Obama's campaign and the surge of hope that it gave many millennials, and Blago, right after Obama got elected, getting carted off to court in handcuffs. The feds came a knocking at his door on corruption charges, and now it took Donald Trump to get him out of prison. What's your thoughts about all that?
I'm a big Blago fan. I think the Democrats should have let him out. Obama should have let him out. He got in trouble for doing what I think we all know is pretty much par for the course in politics. He did a lot of good in Illinois, right? Seniors were riding the bus for free. I think, Senator Durbin, Congresswoman Schakowsky have all said that they're in favor of the move by Trump. Yeah, I think it's unfortunate Trump was the one to do it, because he steals the Democrats' thunder once again. And I think it kind of also plays into a narrative. I mean, not as much as some of the other people he's let out of jail, but I think the Republican Party is making a real play at being the criminal justice reform party in 2020, and that could be a real problem for Democrats.
In other words, and by the way, Edward DiBartolo, who was the former, in Illinois, nobody's talking about this, but Edward DiBartolo, who was a former owner of the San Francisco 49ers, never went to prison, but was convicted, had to pay a fine on bribery charges. I think his case was exonerated. To your point, there was a press conference at the White House. Jerry Rice was there, former San Francisco 49er. He was there. Ronnie Lott was there, 49er. In other words, Donald Trump is going to, it's so bizarre, champion the notion that he is leading the charge on criminal justice reform.
Yeah, it's remarkable. But, to his credit, you saw the Super Bowl commercial, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's let people out of prison for nonviolent drug offenses and has done what Democrats have said they were going to do, and it could be disastrous for Democrats. I mean, who knows? I mean, obviously a lot of it depends on who's the nominee, but going against somebody like Bloomberg, we could have a real problem picking up, with the black community. Our base are minority communities, and I think that's the real question, is how minority communities come and turn out if it's a candidate like Bloomberg. And also, Trump still got time to do more on that front, so we'll see what happens.
Utter hypocrisy, by the way. I want to say I'm old enough to remember the Central Park Five, the 5 young defendants who were rounded up and accused of something they didn't do, and Donald Trump took a full-page ad calling for the death penalty in their case. That was then, I guess. This is now. People have short memories, or people didn't know at all to begin with. But I hear your point. If the Democrats were to nominate Michael Bloomberg as the presidential candidate to run against Donald Trump, he, of course, is the architect of stop and frisk in New York City, which he's a big proponent of for many years. And it is a bizarre, very bizarre flip of a switch, Justin, that Donald Trump would suddenly be, running as the criminal justice candidate, the criminal justice reformer. It's hard to think he would have traction, but that's where we're heading.
Yeah, it is where we're heading. I mean, Bernie's national press secretary tweeted out Trump's going to say he's got a better record on criminal justice than Bloomberg, and he may be right. So it's not just supporters of Bernie, it's high-level staffers and surrogates really across the Democratic spectrum kind of sounding this alarm. Who knows?
Now,
Who knows?
I've been in this bubble for a while, so I haven't seen breaking news. You said that Durbin, did I hear you correctly, that Durbin said he approved of commuting the sentence of Blagojevich?
When Trump dangled this earlier in last year, Durbin did an interview where he said he should commute Blagojevich's sentence, and then obviously Trump backed off. But yeah.
Well, one of the things I take great delight, I've been talking about all day, I've been talking about it forever, is when Donald Trump first started talking about commuting Blagojevich's sentence, it cut off Bruce Rauner's reelection campaign at the knees because the centerpiece of Rauner's reelection campaign was the phone conversation between J.B. Pritzker as a private citizen and Rod Blagojevich, who was the governor, and they were talking about, swapping, trading something. I don't know what Blago was going to get from Pritzker, but Pritzker wanted to be anointed to some position, and that tape was supposedly going to connect Pritzker to the evil, hated Blagojevich and unseat him. And all of a sudden, here comes Donald Trump, the leader of the Republican Party, the idol of Republican voters in the state. Justin, they pretty much do whatever he tells them, saying, in his opinion, Blago was unjustly convicted. Suddenly, Rauner, man, he dropped that. You notice that he dropped that because his base was just following Donald Trump's orders. So, Blago's a good guy now to Republicans.
Right. No, it's certainly interesting. I mean, you've seen Patty Blagojevich going on Fox News quite a bit, trashing the FBI, and because I think it was Comey and someone and Mueller. I think who went
himself,
after Blagojevich. So, I mean, you can't blame her. I mean, all she wants is her husband out of prison. It's just it's just unfortunate that Obama didn't let him out. I think he was really concerned with his legacy and how it might affect it. And I think as we sit here now, it's pretty obvious he should have done it because a disaster for Democrats will be, and I wouldn't count it out, is if Blagojevich goes on the campaign trail with Trump. And we got a real problem.
Well, he will go on the campaign trail for Trump.
Well, we got a real problem because he's got a lot of charisma.
I'm going to have to think about that one because here's the deal. I was going to point out a reality to you. Had Obama commuted Blago's sentence, what Republicans and Trump would be saying, they would suddenly be linking Obama to Tony Rezko, who is an old operative who was in the Blago administration, went to federal pen, was an ally of Obama in the early years. They own property adjoining each other in Kenwood. So I hear exactly what you're saying. This is strategy of politics, Justin. Had Obama commuted his sentence, the Trump and the Republicans would be saying how outrageous it is, and they'd be linking Obama. That said, I still think Obama, you're correct, Obama should have done it. But see, that's conventional Dems. I'm just telling you, man, that's how Dems
We like to lose. We just love to lose.
Lovable losers.
Lovable losers.
That's right.
But it's fun. Will Rod Blagojevich be? Wow, I hadn't thought about that. Rod Blagojevich on the campaign trail with Donald Trump. How will that play?
If they start going on stage and saying, Rod championed great programs that we should implement, like free bus fare for seniors, it could be problematic, I think. I mean,
man, Donald Trump is not going to give free bus rides. I would welcome that program, okay?
And he can campaign on it. I mean, he campaigned on universal health care.
He could say anything.
Exactly.
He does just the opposite. But wow, Donald Trump on the campaign trail with Rod Blagojevich. They're two characters. They're cut from the same cloth. Rod was doing the Donald Trump defense before Donald Trump did it. In fact, you could say that Donald Trump stole a lot of his moves from Rod Blagojevich. And you remember how Rod behaved when they were coming after him. He would go on talk shows. He was on David Letterman's show constantly. Geraldo Rivera championed him, much like he champions Trump. So, yeah, Rod Blagojevich kind of wrote the playbook and the strategy book in that.
And Rod's also got, this is the third media cycle Trump has played off Rod Blagojevich. He's said he might pardon him twice. Basically, I mean, the country knows who Rod Blagojevich is more so because of Trump. He really has given Blagojevich, I mean, think about that. The two cycles where he dangled it, which were week-long media cycles, where his wife was going on Jeanine Pirro and Fox and all that, and now he does it. It's really, Trump's just, I hate to say it, but he is a brilliant player of the media and really just understands people and the media. He's a political genius. It's unfortunate.
All right. So let's talk about the political genius who knows how to manipulate the media. And I agree with you. He's brilliant at manipulating the media. He's been doing it throughout his entire life. You could argue he's far better at manipulating the media than he is at, say, running a real estate company. And I would make that argument. So how does that play with if his opponent is Michael Bloomberg?
How does his ability to manipulate the media
go up against a guy who has so much money that he can just put his message on the media around the clock?
Well, it's interesting because Bloomberg will spend a lot more money on ads, which makes cable media companies somewhat, I guess, more endeared to a Bloomberg type, which could, I mean, who knows? He'll be spending a lot more on Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, all the channels on his advertisements than Trump. Trump ain't going to spend $9 billion on this race. He doesn't need to. Bloomberg, I was just looking, he's already spent $400 million on TV, another like $36 million, I got to pull it up exactly, $36 million on Lee Fang from The Intercept just reported this. I'm going to pull it up. $36 million on Facebook ads, and then $26 million on Google ads. Wow. And that's excluding his staff. So he's already, that we know of, spent $500 million. We're not even we're 2 weeks out from I mean, it's unbelievable. I think he's on pace to spend $2 billion in the primary. There's no precedent for it. And I definitely understand the arguments of people who think this is the guy to take on Trump. Who knows? I don't know if that's the right thinking. Partly it seems arrogant, right? That after 2016, where Hillary paraded Bloomberg around as the real billionaire, I don't know if the country's at where Bloomberg's at, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
I don't think the country is at where Bloomberg's at.
Right.
Bloomberg's a very tough sell for Democrats. I talked about this earlier with Maya, and I'll be saying this a lot as we go on. Justin, I understand the left very well. I'm from the left, and I know how we view the world, and I know how the Bloombergs and the Rahms have viewed us and the Obamas, and they don't care about the left. They just expect the left to shut up and vote for them. And ultimately, the only weapon the left has when it comes to an election where they don't have a candidate in the race is not to participate. Think about that. Just, you know what? And then that only gets the centrists angrier at them. I got centrists still mad over Ralph Nader in 2000 in Florida, and they don't get how leftists view the world. They have this utter contempt for leftists. They just want them to shut up, go along, fall in line, even if you're selling out all their values.
Yeah. The Democrats have a rich tradition of blaming their voters for losing elections, and it's pretty remarkable. Somebody was just complaining about Ralph Nader to me yesterday, and it's like, how do we know that those voters wouldn't have just stayed home? I mean, we don't know. And so, yeah, no, it's remarkable that it's the standard strategy, blame the voters. It's Bernie's supporters' fault that Hillary lost. It'll be Bernie's supporters' fault again, regardless of what happens. Blaming the voters for losing an election is just so backwards. But people in the Democratic Party establishment do not want to lose their grip on the party, and I really think it comes down to that. Their feet are a few inches off the ground, and they're not able to see where the mood of the country is. I mean, we have populist waves on both the left and the right. The right has embraced theirs, and they've basically taken over the country. The Democrats are trying to push the populist wave that Bernie is stirring up down, when it's probably the right time to say, let's give it a go. Last night Bernie Sanders filled up the Tacoma Dome. Like, how do you look at a rally like that and think this isn't the coalition to beat Trump? I have a very hard time believing that there are more people who will vote Trump if Bernie's the nominee than if Bloomberg's the nominee.
Mm-hmm.
I just
wait. Say that again.
All right, I have a hard time believing that Bernie isn't the candidate that turns out the most voters against Trump, particularly in Rust Belt states. And this is why you heard Trump on a recording saying he was very worried that Hillary would put Bernie on the ticket, particularly because of his views on trade. And so when you look at states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, where we're losing by really slim margins, that can honestly probably be attributable to those people who have been affected by bad trade policies, I just have a hard time believing what the Democratic establishment is selling in terms of what it's going to take to win this next election.
Well, just in terms of what you, that image that you gave us all of Rod Blagojevich on the campaign trail with Donald Trump, which is a very real image, by the way, and I can see it happening. One of our listeners said that's part of the deal. They probably already cut that part of the deal. But I think you're absolutely correct, and that plays to that renegade spirit of Donald Trump, that he is so effective. Like, he is a victim. He sort of can relate to people, the victims of criminal justice, because he himself is a victim. He's freaking, deserves whatever prosecution he's getting. But so I just don't believe that works with Bernie Sanders as the Democratic nominee. You follow me? I just don't believe that it's an effective message against a guy like Bernie, who was against the Clinton crime bill and stop and frisk, et cetera, and so forth.
Bernie is a powerful candidate. You hear Republicans say it all the time. They may not like his solutions for problems, but they think he's authentic. He has the highest favorability ratings in the Democratic Party. And, I mean, there's a good argument to be made that what won Trump the presidency was the appearance of authenticity, right? Truly just railing against the Republican establishment, the Jeb Bushes of the world, Marco Rubio's, when he stood on the debate stage and said, your brother, to Jeb Bush, your brother, 9/11 happened on his watch. He didn't keep us safe. There were things he said and did that just gave him unbelievable credibility amongst his base, to the point where now he can say anything and they're going to believe it, because he said a few things that everybody was kind of thinking but wouldn't say, and it went a long way.
And to your point, he says things that Democrats should say but are too chicken to say because they play that game of bipartisanship like it exists. And we all know it doesn't exist. So your point about blaming Donald Trump, blaming George Bush for 9/11, I don't remember a Democrat literally blaming, you know what I mean? To say, by the way, it did happen on his watch. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? If it happened on a Democratic watch, you damn well be sure the Republicans would be playing that card.
And how many Democrats were watching that debate thinking, well, Trump could never win, and just cheering that comment on? Like, yes, somebody finally said it with this, oh, my brother kept us safe. It's like, what, dude? The largest terrorist attack happened on his watch.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. All right. Justin Horowitz is our guest. We're talking Democratic politics, Bernie, Bloomberg, Blago. We'll be right back after this.
I've seen a whole lot of catfish, some turtles. No gators yet, though.
Read the Chicago Reader to get up to speed on what's what in Chicago. Culture, food, arts and entertainment, weekly concert listings, weekly event listings, the environment, travel. I can continue, but you get the point. And for all of you Chicago political junkies, raw weekly columns on real city politics from Maya Dukmasova and our very own Ben Joravsky. The Chicago Reader, free to the public in newsstands throughout the city and online at chicagoreader.com. Read it now and be a more informed Chicagoan.
I'm not running, but I'm going to keep working and speaking and standing up for what I believe. I want to be sure that people understand I'm going to keep speaking out. I'm not going anywhere. What's at stake in our country, the kinds of things that are happening right now are deeply troubling to me. We've gotten not just polarized, we've gotten into really opposing camps, unlike anything I've ever seen in my adult life.
This audience has a lot of Democrats in it. It has Republicans, independents, Democratic socialists, conservatives. I want to ask the audience a question. If you could raise your hand here. A show of hands of how many people get their insurance from work, private insurance, right now. How many get it from private insurance? Okay. Now, of those, how many are willing to transition to what the senator says, a government-run system?
Millions of people every single year lose their health insurance. You know why? They get fired or they quit and they go to another employer. I was the mayor for 8 years. You know what I did, what probably every mayor in America does, is you look around for the best insurance program, the most cost-effective insurance. You change insurance. Every year, millions of workers wake up in the morning and their employer has changed the insurance that they have. Maybe they like the doctors. People are nodding their heads. Okay? So this is not new. Every year. Now, what we're talking about actually is stability. That when you have a Medicare for all, it is there now and it will be there in the future.
Hey, commercial break over. Welcome back to the Ben Joravsky Show, live from the Chicago Sun-Times.
Justin Horowitz with us, political strategist. We're talking Bernie, Blago, Bloomberg. Man, what a thought Justin put in my head. Blago on the campaign trail.
I totally, right when he said it, I'm like, oh my God, it's like I could see it.
The guys, it's the quiet ones you got to really watch. You know what I'm saying? The quiet
That's correct.
He's like, until he said like, I hadn't thought about it.
I could just totally see it on TV right now.
Oh my God. But will he dye his hair?
I don't know. I don't know if it matters. I mean, it looks great. Do you see when they released the photo of Blago in prison?
Yeah.
And he's still got a six-pack. I mean, he's in his 60s. Unbelievable.
I got a six-pack, and I'm in my 60s.
That's probably why Trump pardoned him. Remember when he said Blago's got great genes? Trump's thinking, oh, he's got the genetics.
No, man. Dennis called it. I got to give the young man from Alton, Illinois credit. He was the one who said it. Blago was on Trump's show. That stuff matters to Trump.
Yeah.
And give Patty credit. Like, just went on Fox, said what had to be said, and and gave Trump ammunition. Again, folks, it's the game that's being played. They have the same set of enemies. Federal prosecutors, Donald Trump and Rod Blagojevich, the same set of enemies. They essentially have the same argument that they're being victimized by over-the-top prosecutors who are on ego trips, who have too much power. And I always have to say, I just read Jack Goldsmith's biography of his stepfather, Chucky O'Brien, and Jimmy Hoffa was saying the same thing back in the 50s and the 60s about overstepping federal prosecutors. So, this is a playbook that's been around for a long time. Justin, populists have been using it. Jimmy Hoffa used it. Rod Blagojevich used it. Donald Trump is using it. And so, yeah, I could see. But I don't know. Part of Blago's thing is he's got I'd say he goes back and he dies to heroin.
Tackling the tough issues today on the Ben Joravsky Show.
I mean, come on, it's all optics. You got an update before I ask just another question?
Before we get out of here, we're going to read more of your comments here. The question of the day: what is the first thing Blago does when being released from prison? We've had a lot of great answers. Keep them coming. And before we get out of here today, we will read your comments. I'm still looking for that real good one. I believe Kyle left. I'll be looking for that, and I'll read that before we get out of here. Follow us online, social media, at Benny J Show, BENNY, the letter J Show. And also, I got to make an apology, Ben.
Oh.
Hey, downloaders. How's it going? It's me, Dennis, producer of the show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we had a Benny J bonus interview that dropped on Saturday, and it was supposed to be Henry. I want to call him Henry Davis Gates every time.
Don't do it.
Henry Davis Jr., the feller who ran against Pete Buttigieg in the mayoral campaign there in 2015. And it's like his fourth time back on the program. Yeah, I made a mistake there and put up the wrong interview. Sorry about that, guys. But it is now on the Chicago Sun-Times and Chicago Reader websites and wherever else you download your favorite podcast. Just look for Henry Davis Jr. full interview, and it's there for you to listen to. So if you did that over the weekend and thought, oh, what the hell, this isn't Henry Davis Jr., who are these guys, Ben and Dennis? What are they trying? What kind of scam are they running? No scam. We got the interview. It's posted there at both Chicago Sun-Times and Chicago Reader websites. Go find it, go listen to it, and send us a comment. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, no, that, and then the other, I want everybody to listen to what Justin has to say, and Jimmy Bannos is in the studio. We're going to get you to listen to what he has to say as well. But the other podcast, bonus that we have is that's doing really well is the show from, where was it? G-Man. Last week we were talking about the New Hampshire primary. That's on there as well. And a lot of people are listening to that. So good stuff from young Dennis. Got to give yourself, you apologize, but come on, the guy works really hard posting all those bonus features. I see him doing it. All right, Justin, question of the day before I let you go. We're probably going to have you back to talk about this. This will be a developing story. This will be going on all the way to the convention in Milwaukee. Bernie versus Bloomberg. I absolutely believe, I've said it all along, that the centrists are going to coalesce around Bloomberg. Buttigieg is going to lose his support. Biden's going to lose his support. Amy Klobuchar is going to lose her support. How do you see this thing shaking out?
It's going to be a violent convention. I truly believe it becomes a violent convention. Bernie's national press secretary has already called Bloomberg a racist authoritarian. Bloomberg's campaign is comparing Trump to Bernie. They just released that statement, Bernie's new bro, Trump. I think it's everything Bernie at least thought he wanted to run against until you actually get to the convention, where Bloomberg's the only campaign who has staff on the Rules Committee, which is co-chaired by Barney Frank, by the way, who notoriously hates Sanders. And then he's got another staffer on the Standing Rules and Bylaws Committee, former mayor of Philadelphia, Michael Nutter. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to know who wins, but I think Bernie goes into the convention with a plurality of delegates, and they probably take it from him there. What Bloomberg's doing with things like Hawkfish, which is a digital arm of his campaign that's going to extend through November. He's hired, I think, about 100 former Silicon Valley tech executives to build basically the equivalent of what the Republicans and the Koch network have built on digital and media. And that's basically like what you're doing for the Democratic Party there, the DNC, is giving them a tool they've never had. And I think it's like a bribe. And I think there's a good argument to be made that that's what they need to win. And if he's, like we said, he's already spent $500 million. If he spends a couple billion in the primary, I don't even know if he could win the primary out. I mean, it's so hard to know. We're in such uncharted territory. But you've got, Never Bloomberg is trending on Twitter. You've got major activists, Black Lives Matter activists like Sean King, who have millions of followers, and they're saying we will never vote for this man. It's really hard to know. I think at this point, my prediction would be Bernie goes into the convention with a plurality of delegates, and on a second ballot they go for Bloomberg.
Wow. That's a prediction. Let's keep that down. I'm going to hold him to that prediction. I think I'm going to go the other way, just for the heck of it. Why? Neither of us know, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. If I put the money down in Vegas right now, I'll probably lose. I usually lose when I put money down on any kind of bet. But again, it's basically people versus money, and Bernie's got the people. And the silly idealist to me, who should be crushed by years of disappointment with Chicago sports teams, should not even have idealism anymore. But I say the people prevail. God, just saying that, Justin, I feel like a sucker in sap, the Bulls fan that I am. But anyway, we will see. We're still early. It's February. We haven't even gotten to the first Bloomberg participation in debate. Justin Horowitz, thanks so much for coming in. Really appreciate it. Got to get you on the show more often. We have Denise O'Neill. Is Denise here? Denise is going to bring on a special guest. Where's the food? I thought there was food. Maybe it's just a guest without the food. We'll be right back after this.
They have food.
Hey, everybody. What you're about to hear are the piano stylings of Jeff Manuel. Man, listen to Jeff go. Jeff Manuel has been playing piano around Chicago for years. He's played for conventions, for celebrities, played in basement bars with blues bands. He's played at prestigious social clubs, fine restaurants, and in the intimacy of private homes. Book Jeff Manuel at jeffemanuelpianist.com. Don't worry, I'll spell his name at the end of this commercial. You know what Chicago Magazine said? They said that Jeff Manuel is, quote, as comfortable with Chopin as he is with Cole Porter. He's excellent and his performance is joyous. He offers an elegant stream of compositions and interpretations that entertains the mind but won't hurt the ears. To hear more of Jeff Manuel's work and to book Jeff for your next event, go to jeffmanuelpianist.com. I'm going to spell it out for you, people. J-E-F-F. M as in Mary, A, N as in Nancy, UELPIANIST.com. Take it away, Jeff Manuel.
Welcome back to the Ben Joravsky Show, live from the Chicago Sun-Times.
Denise O'Neill, one of my favorite people at the Sun-Times. I always talk about this. When Dennis and I came to the Chicago Sun-Times, we were the new kids on the block. And we were like, we don't know anybody. Denise was the nice person who said hello. Welcome to us, Denise and Romana. 2 shots out. We got to always remember Romana.
And like I always say, Denise, that's the female version of my name.
That is correct. Denise and Dennis. But nobody calls Denise Dr. Doobie. Did you notice that?
Well, that's about to change.
Anyway, Denise O'Neill is a editor here at the Sun-Times, and she's a writer, and she wrote a story. We're not going to be talking about this particular story, Denise. Last time we were on the show, we talked about your CBS masterpiece. But this is How how an unsung black inventor saved lives as the king of cool. Frederick McKinney Jones at his drafting desk. He was a prolific inventor who invented a cooling system used in Army trucks in World War II. But we're not going to be talking about that. You have a special guest, an old friend of yours that you would like to introduce with Mardi Gras around the corner or here already. So why don't you do the introductions?
I have the king of Mardi Gras here, best hurricanes ever at Heaven on 7, Mr. Jimmy Bannos, chef owner and longtime friend.
All right, very good, Jimmy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
it. So how you two guys know each other?
Well, I used to do food writing for the Sun-Times for about 15 years, and I met Jimmy. I met you at a Chicago tourism event decades ago. And we've been friends ever since.
We were like 15, right? 16.
Something like that.
Jimmy, I like that.
Unless you read today's story.
And I like that voice of yours, man. You got like a voice for radio. Yeah, man. Jimmy Bannos here, man. So you're, what did you say? He's the king of Mardi Gras? Is that what you said?
He's actually the king of cool. In addition to that dude.
Okay.
And he is the king of Mardi Gras. He is the New Orleans, the Cajun king of Chicago.
So you're the Cajun king of Chicago, but are you from Chicago or are you from New Orleans?
No, I always say I was born in Chicago, but I grew up in the Twin Cities. And everybody goes, oh, Minnesota, that's great. We live there. No, Berwyn and Cicero.
I just wanted him to say that line again. I love that line. You know who else is from that? Big time. I'm on a tangent with it. You know Bob Odenkirk? No. The actor? Dr. Dino, big fan of his, Just Call Saul. Anyway, he is from the Cicero area, and he loves to talk about that. All right, so how did you get it? Your guy, you were from Berwyn, Cicero, the Twin Cities. So how did you learn anything about Mardi Gras?
Third generation chef, and my father and myself, my brother and my mom, we bought a very nondescript restaurant on the 7th floor of the Garland building at 111 North Wabash. And it was a Jewish deli when we bought it. The father and the son-in-law owned it. And so we're kind of doing the Jewish deli thing for a couple of years. But the guy who we owned it, we bought it from, everything was frozen. So I started making everything from scratch. I just got out of chef school, and I played 16-inch softball when I was a kid, so my matzo balls were like as big as 16-inch softballs. You know, every time you poured soup in it, it was like a gallon of soup soaked in the matzo balls. Yeah.
Wait, you know, Jimmy, I actually know that restaurant. When did you buy it? Or when did you?
1980. We just celebrated 40 years, February 4th.
I used to go there all the time. Many years ago, when I started in this business, I worked for the Chicago Reporter, and that was on Michigan Avenue, and right around the corner.
Right.
We used to go there.
We had a lot of people from Chicago Reporter come in.
Yeah, Laura Washington. Hey, yeah. Laura out there. Exactly. You know, Kevin Blackstone, one of my oldest friends. And we used to go. I can't believe it, but it was so wild because you have all these like diamond dealers and stuff. Have you seen Uncut Gems by any chance?
No, I want to. They say it's supposed to be really
Jimmy,
good.
hurry up, man.
No, I want to go. It was, you know.
Have you seen it, Denise?
No.
Oh, man, what's the matter with you two?
I'm locked in here.
But anyway, it's got that vibe that I remember from that restaurant.
Yeah.
Because you're like in that Garland building, there's a lot of jewelry dealers.
Well, there's only actually one. The Mallet 5 South Wabash is the jewelry building.
Okay, that's the one, yeah.
But we do have one right across the hall from us, Chuck Platt, and he's crazy. He's definitely uncut diamonds for sure.
So you learn. So I presume you're not Jewish.
No,
but
Greek.
You're Greek?
Yeah.
So how did you learn how to cook Jewish style?
So because I was behind the stove 7 days a week. I mean, we were open 6, and the 7th day I'd go there and just because I buy my own produce, everything. I would just relax and do what I had to do for prep for the week. And I got how I would travel through different cookbooks, magazines, and I got Paul Prudhomme's cookbook. And at the time, he just opened up K. Paul's Louisiana Kitchen. And I made a couple of things from the book, and it just went crazy. People went crazy. So I cold called them. And I always tell this to any young kid or anybody that's is interested in something and wants to get a hold of this person, not just keep on pestering them. I only called him once. He called me back the next day. We had over an hour conversation, and he says, "Come on, you got to come down. You got a great story." So my wife and I flew down there on a long weekend, and that trip changed my life.
And what so before you went down there, you did not know, you had no experience in Cajun cooking?
No, zero. I mean, I went to culinary school, Washburn Trade School in the city.
Washburn Trade School.
Yeah, and that was when I was on 31st and Kedzie. And and so, I did some stuff there, but nothing, Southern food, it was no big deal. I really feel that my dad stood up a wedding in Biloxi, Mississippi in 1967. And I remember as a kid going there and eating this food and, marinated crab claws, crawfish, and things like that. I was like, I don't know, I think it just stuck in my head.
But what I asked you about before we get to the Cajun food, because he did bring the Cajun food, so
I got some gumbo for you.
He got some gumbo for me. So how did you learn how to cook Jewish style?
Just being a trained chef, I just knew it's like, not these little hard matzo balls. We get some leavening in them, So these things were as light as a feather. They were really light, and the broth was fantastic. And it was just great. And then all of a sudden the New Orleans stuff started overpowering the Jewish stuff. We were voted #1 Reuben in the city at one time by Pat Bruno.
At the place?
At the Garland Coffee Shop.
At the Garland Coffee Shop.
Yeah. And then we unofficially changed it to Heaven on 7. We started selling gallons of gumbo, and I wanted to print a T-shirt. So we, how I figured that out, I was in the shower, and the steam was rising up to heaven. And I said, "Oh, great!" So a bowl of gumbo, Heaven on 7, and boom, that
was it.
That's how it went.
Back in the day, there were two. Going back to the 80s. There were two Jewish-style delis on Wabash. There was yours.
Right,
and
Senate's.
Do you remember Mort's?
Mort's, great. He was the best.
We used to call him the Jewish Mr. T, because you'd come in there and Mort would have all the chains.
Oh, yeah, chains.
The
probably
shirt
about
open.
2 watches on one hand.
Come here, I got you.
Yeah.
Like, you always make you feel like you're the most important guy. I got you.
He was a really nice guy.
So it wasn't.
So they were, and then 5 South Wabash was a pretty big deli in the Jewelers building, and then the Maller's building, excuse me, and then it was us. So it was good.
And so when did you open Heaven on 7?
So we bought that in 80. We started changing in about 84,
mm-hmm.
and we never looked back.
And so you have some food here for us?
Yeah, I brought some gumbo, chicken andouille sausage gumbo, and a jalapeno cheddar corn muffin. I'm sorry, I only brought one.
Which one should I have?
Give them the open ones.
The open one? I'm going to try this, and you tell me. All right, now. All right.
Ben is trying the gumbo. Great podcasting, Ben.
Oh, it's delicious, man. Oh, it's got a little spice, a little kick to it.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, what's the secret to this?
Love, a lot of love.
Okay, not just love, man. You can't just put love in food.
Oh yeah, you have to. You have to, otherwise it's gonna come out like crap. You gotta have the love. No, you know what? A good roux, a nice dark roux, a really good chicken stock, and you just got to take your time. You can't rush it.
Denise, have you tried this?
I have tried it. I have tried those corn muffins.
I got to try some of the corn muffins.
You have
too.
got to try the corn muffin, the best food ever.
So that's a jalapeno cheddar corn muffin.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
While Ben gets that corn muffin ready, one thing downstate that we eat a lot. Have you ever heard of burgoo? Burgoo soup.
Burgoo, it's like a stew soup.
Yeah,
Don't they put squirrel in that?
Oh, man. I mean, more than likely, it's you can have a lot of different burgoo. I believe.
Yeah, no, burgoo is traditionally a southern, southern dish, and I think they do put squirrel, raccoon, if you get it, or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I just had like sausage, but not squirrel or raccoon.
That's delicious, man. And it's a good thing that it's at the end of the show. Usually I have my delicious cheese and avocado sandwich.
All right, let's chew that all and swallow it before we start talking to people on the microphone. You know what I mean? That'd be.
I gotta ask, why do you have cultured buttermilk up there?
Oh, that's a great question.
That is a great question.
That is a great, and I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
So, okay, Dennis, Dr. D's got very good. See. I used to work for a different radio station, which I won't mention, and they fired me. And so some of the people that like listening to my show,
I love it.
They took this. In fact, Peter Janko, who's the one who made it, will be on the show tomorrow. And so I'm missing. So it's a milk carton, and so I'm missing. I was missing. I was off the air for a while after I was fired. So anyway, that's the joke. And I usually keep it right there, but we share the studio now with Fran Spielman. I want to urge everybody to check out Fran's show. She has her own podcast she does here. So we try to, clean it up and neaten it up a little bit.
We're not there to explain the whole thing, when they come in.
When they come in.
So it just looks like buttermilk.
Yeah, it's just a buttermilk thing. But Jimmy, thanks for it's the chef in him. Why is there buttermilk?
Yeah, I'm looking at it like, why does he have buttermilk cockeyed on the top of the drawer?
So do you have any special parties that you want to know people about?
We do. We just had the 40th anniversary, and then I'm going to bring some out-of-town chefs throughout the year and have some fun. And then Friday we have Friday's Mardi Gras weekend, so we have live music, and then Saturday same thing, live music. And I've got about 7 new specials that I haven't run before. And then Fat Tuesday is crazy. It's the beginning. It's the end of Mardi Gras. But one thing about us in Chicago is, I think the Fat Tuesday is the beginning of Mardi Gras, so it goes for like another 3 weeks. So it's perfect for us. Yeah.
What are the 7 new specials?
I have a braised beef shank with an andouille sausage, pan gravy with balsamic cipollini onions on that, on Parmesan grits. I've got pan-seared sea scallops with the Jamaican jerked oxtails on mashed potatoes. That's actually an old one I haven't had in probably 10 years. I said, I got to bring that thing back. Especially one of my servers who's been with me for a real long time. She's moving to Wisconsin, so I said, I got to make something for her. And then we're doing a coconut-crusted shrimp with a Vietnamese sweet chili sauce. So it's nice. We have
I like that chili sauce.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's got a little heat, but then it's sweet. It's perfect.
So Jimmy Bannos, have it on 7. Want to thank you very much for coming in the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And we're after the show, we're going to be eating this. Oh, this could be my dinner tonight. I may go with the avocado and cheese, and then have this for dinner. I don't know. I'll make that decision.
No, have that. That's a light little thing. You have a little one slice later on for that. Eat this now.
All right. And so thank you very much for all the delicious food. And Denise, I'm urging everybody to check out your story in the Sun-Times, How an Unsung Black Adventure Saved Lives as the King of Cool.
Thank you.
And thanks for bringing Jimmy on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Denise. I appreciate it.
One of my best friends in the business, period. Bar none.
And also want to thank Justin Horowitz and Maya, and of course the man, the myth, the legend.
And before we go, we got to congratulate our live chat champion of the day. It's Johnny Joe. Downstate Johnny Joe. The question of the day: what will Ron Blagojevich do now? What's the first thing he's going to do now that he's out of prison? We have several comments, but I think Johnny Joe takes the cake here. Congratulations, Johnny Joe. Well, you win nothing. But here is the comment. I think Blago will hold a press conference and show everybody how to turn a bar of soap into a shank in 5 minutes.
Okay, prison jokes. Hey, maybe he'll go to Heaven on 7 and celebrate with. Anyway, that's pretty clever. We'll send you the blue Mustang. It's in the mail right now for that.
We're not doing that.
Winning joke. I'd also want to thank, as I was saying, the man, myth, the legend, the pride and joy of Alton, Illinois, Dr. Doobie. That's what they call him. And back home in Alton, as Jimmy can tell you, they call him White Lightning. Give yourself a raise. Take it out of petty cash. See you tomorrow, everybody.
Hey, and remember, you can download previous Ben Joravsky shows and Benny J bonus interviews at both Chicago Sun-Times and Chicago Reader websites and wherever else you download your favorite podcasts. Downloaders, you know we live stream this program, right? It's true. Tuesdays through Fridays, 1 until 3 p.m. Central Time at both Chicago Sun-Times and Chicago Reader websites and the Chicago Sun-Times YouTube channel. And when you join the YouTube channel, you can join the live stream chat. Join the Madhouse. Join Brianna, Johnny, Joe, Bruce. Leave us a comment, and who knows, you may be the live chat champion and win nothing like Johnny Joe. We'll see you tomorrow.
Become big problems when you let small problems sit. Big problems become big problems when you let small problems sit.
That's correct.